Hi guys, so today I want to show you how to cut and sew this overbust structured corset. So if this is what you're interested in learning how to cut and sew this overbust beautiful Victorian corset, then you keep watching. So let's quickly go to the table and draft. Okay guys, quickly. So this is my starting point. The first line you see there is about 1 inch down. Just 1 inch on my pattern paper, and on this other side that I'm pointing is also 1 inch. Okay, you can do more of that. So what I want to do now is just to go ahead and take my measurements. My shoulder to my nipple is 11 inches. Okay, I'm trying to get that 11 inches. That is my nipple point. So please use your own measurements or your client's measurements. Then from that shoulder, I'm also taking my underbust, which is 15.5 inches. This is 11 inches, my bust point, then 15.5 inches, my underbust, then 19 inches is my half length. Okay, so I'm just going ahead now to use this ruler and connect it. So I realized this ruler was too short, so I'm just using this long ruler to connect it. This is my bust point, which is 11 inches from shoulder, and then this is my under bust, which is 15.5 inches from shoulder, and the next line I will be marking is 19 inches from shoulder, which is my half length or waist point, as the case may be. Okay, so after doing this, the next thing I want to do is to just label it so that there will be no confusion. This is my BP bust point, this is the UB underbust, and then the waist. Then from that waist, I'm going to mark around 6 inches or 6.5 inches. You can make it even 7 inches because it's going to be on top of your clothes like you saw on the video. All right, so I'm just marking 6.5 inches. If it's going to be inside your skirt, you can make it 5 inches. Okay, from your waist to about 5 inches. Okay, so I've just marked 6.5 inches and I've connected it. So the next thing I'm doing now, I'm just marking my nipple to nipple, which is 4.5 inches. All right, 9 inches divided by 2 gives me 4.5 inches. That is my nipple to nipple. Right, so I'm just marking this nipple to nipple all around the lines that I have made earlier. Okay, so I'm just marking it, and then I'm going in with this ruler again, and then I'm just connecting it straight down. All right, just mark your nipple to nipple and connect it with all the lines, just as you see me doing in the video. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing now is just to go to that shoulder line, my starting point, and mark my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 16, divide that by 2, it gives you 8 inches. I've marked 8 inches. And then I'm just using basic neckline, which is 3 by 3 inches, though we don't need the neckline because of the nature of the style, but I still marked it anyway because we are drafting the basic bodice. All right, so now marking 8 inches my armhole. I'm supposed to mark 8.5, but I mistakenly marked 8 inches, so I corrected it. So on that line, I'm marking the same shoulder measurement so that everything will be on straight line. I want my measurements to be on straight line. I don't want any mistake, so I'm just connecting it. So I'm using this ruler to connect from that shoulder to this 8.5 inches, which is my armhole. All right, so now I'm done doing that. I just want to quickly impute my bust measurement on that line so that I will know that I am done with that bust measurement on that line. So I've included it. My bust measurement is 9.5 inches. Okay, so I put it there. 38 divided by 2 gives me 9.5 inches. So now I just want to measure 8 inches for my chest line. I'm not using it now, but I want to just measure it and keep there. You can come down 9 inches if you want, but if you come down too much, your cleavage will be showing, your bust will be showing. That's why I just use 8 inches. 8 inches will be okay for me. So I'm just connecting my basic neckline with this beautiful curve ruler I have there. All right, then for my front shoulder, I'm coming down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slant, and I'm connecting it to the apex of my neckline like you saw me doing, or like I just did. Then on that bust point, I just want to go up by 4.5 inches. I'm trying to get my 4.5 inches. I went up from my bust point, and on that 4.5 inches I went up by, I'm marking my across front. Okay, your across front is the distance from one side of your chest to the other for your front. So basically I just mark 7 inches. Mine is 14 inches divided by 2 gives me 7 inches. So I'm just going in with this ruler to connect it from the shoulder to my across front and then to my bust measurement. That was why I imputed the bust measurement that time, because I know I will soon need it, so I had to impute it earlier on. So I'm just connecting it. This to give you a perfect armhole curve, like a very perfect armhole curve. So I'm done doing that now. So right now I just want to go ahead and be sure that this my chest line is correct. So I still have my 8 inches there. So I'm just going ahead with my pencil and mark a broken line. I just want to use this pencil to make a faint line. Alright, just want to use the pencil because it's not really a permanent line. So what I'm going to do on that chest line is to also bring in my nipple to nipple, which is 4.5 inches, and I'll connect this from the bust point to the chest line, just as you see me doing. I put my, now I want to contour the overbust. I put 1 inch on that other side and I'm putting 0.75 on this center front as you're seeing me. I am busty, so that is why I use up to 1 inch, okay, on that other side. But if you're not busty, you can just use 0.75 on both sides. So on the under bust, I use 1.75 on this side. Then on the center front, I use 1.25. Okay, 1.25 here, 1.75 on the other side. And then I went in with this ruler. See how I place the ruler. Study how I place this ruler. I just curved it. I'm just manipulating the ruler and I'm curving the second part. If you learn how to use your rulers, it will make your work very easy and it will come out very neatly. So I'm just manipulating the curve of the ruler, taking advantage of the ruler to do my curve. See how I flipped the ruler again to curve the upper part. All right, this side is 0.75. I'm using my ruler to curve. Then this other part, is 1 inch that I contoured it with the overbust. So I'm just using my ruler again, manipulating the ruler. You see how beautiful, see how my bust has come out. And I'm using my pencil. I didn't like the shape I got. It was too rounded, so I just used my pencil to correct it so that you will not be confused with too many lines. So I'm just imputing my underbust measurement, and this dart we have here, I'm replacing it. It's almost 3 inches, not up to 3 inches sharp. So I'm just replacing it. The law of dart states that any dart you take out, you must replace it. So I'm done replacing the bust, the dart of the underbust, and then I'm bringing down the dart leg to the waist. Okay, I'm bringing down the dart leg to the waist as you can see me doing. I'm also bringing down the dart leg to the full length. That is the final length. I'm bringing down the dart leg from the underbust to the waist and then to this part. You see how it is. It's very simple. And then I'm going ahead to put my waist measurement. My waist measurement divided by 4. I've marked it there. I'm trying to use this pencil to just mark it. All right, I don't even know why I use the pencil. So I'm just trying also right now to replace the dart I have here. It's about 3-point-something inches. So I'm replacing the dart I have here on my waist. See it? I've replaced it. Don't forget to replace your darts. Okay, so I'm using this beautiful curve ruler, not really curve, to connect from my armhole to the waist and then to the underbust and then to the waist. You see, I've connected to the waist. Don't mind the shape. By the time you take out your dart, it will be perfect. So on the upper hip, I'm taking my measurement just as I did for other places. Taking my measurement as you can see me, and then I'm trying to replace the dart. This dart is also about 3 inches, so I have to replace. You must replace your dart. Don't forget. Whatever you do, replace your dart. If not, your measurement will be short by the time you finish sewing the clothes. So I went in with this beautiful ruler. I'm trying to see how I can manipulate it, but the shape I got wasn't really giving. Okay, it wasn't really giving. And I brought this other fat ruler that has big tummy. I said, okay, let me try this one and see. I think this one worked for me. It gave me what I want because the upper hip needed to be curved. Though it's not a conical corset, but the upper hip is almost close to your hip. It shouldn't be straight like the other part. Okay. So this is my shape. Maybe your own might even be curvier than me. By the time I take out all this dart, you will see how fine the corset is looking. So I have to erase that first line. Okay, so on this part is very tricky. On this chest line, just come down by any amount, any number you want. You can come down deeper. The more deeper you come down, the more it shows your breast. So me, I don't want something that will show my breast. Okay, so I'm just trying to manipulate this ruler, okay? I came down by 1 inch, but I'm trying to manipulate the ruler. See how I'm connecting it? See what I'm doing here? The center front shouldn't be curved. If you give it a curve, you end up with a tunic neckline. You don't want that. You see how I'm manipulating it? I'll still keep manipulating it so that you will see it. Here you see what I did. After I finished curving it, I had to come and be sure that front is not curved. Please make sure the front is not curved. Okay, so all right, I'm still on the neckline self. So I'm just trying to curve it to be sure I get something perfect, because I don't want, yes, this is it. It's very brief. So if you want yours to be deeper, you can take it deeper. So for the other style, the structured style that is on the armhole, you can go up, you can come down from your shoulder as low or as high as you want. This is just allow your creativity to guide you. I did this first line. I feel like it was too low. It won't give me that structure I needed, that tulip I needed. Okay, so I had to eventually go up again. This is the first line I made. I felt like it was just too down. It was normal. And I said, okay, let me make another line. I didn't want it to be too high and I didn't want it to be too low. So decide whatever you want before you even start drafting. If you want it to be dramatic, you can make it dramatic. Then, I just want to go ahead now and make more panels where my boning channels will be. That is what I'm doing with this ruler now. I'm trying to create more panels. So if you just be creative, you don't need to add more darts for you to be able to create more panels. As long as you've already done your basic dart and your contouring of the overbust and the underbust, the next thing you should just do, just grab your ruler, mark straight lines. Don't stress yourself with too many darts on the pattern. You might get confused, okay? So just use your ruler, be creative with your line. So I'm just marking more structural line. You know, the more the boning on the corset, the more structure it gives you. So here I just divided the center front into 2 because I wanted to divide the center front into 2. I wanted to create more panels. So I went in with this ruler again, and then I just marked it from that top to bottom. I'm trying to set the ruler how I want it. You see, I'm creating more panels on this my pattern now. Just create more panels. So after doing this, the next thing I want to do is just to think I was labeling it here. This is 1, this is 2, and this is the dart. All these places I'm marking bad is going off, and this is 3, then this is 4. You see, then I'm just trying to, make my notches. I'm just trying to label it the way I understand it. Okay, then this center front, I noticed I didn't like it was bulged because of the way I placed my ruler. So I just darted it. See what I did here? I didn't measure. I just used my straight ruler to correct it, and thereby removing a dart. See that little dart up? You see, I just contoured it a little bit because it was looking bulgy. I don't want it to look that bulgy, so I had to correct it. So let's quickly move to the back. I promise you this tutorial is going to be as simple as possible. Okay, so this is me. I just drew a straight line for the back, and then the same thing I did for the front. I'm trying to get all of my lines, 11 inches from my shoulder to nipple, and then 19 inches. There's no underbust at the back, so I'm not going to include the underbust measurement. This is 11 inches and then 19 inches. Okay, so I will grab my ruler now, and then I'll connect all the lines just as I did before. Okay, I needed to also show you the back so that you understand it very well. Okay, so I'm connecting all the lines just as you can see me doing, and then just as I did in front, from my waist point, from that waist, okay, I'm marking what I have as the full length. I'm just bringing it back to the back. I'm just bringing it directly to the back, okay, so that everything will be equal. So I just marked 6.5 inches there from the waist point, and I'm connecting it like so. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is also to impute my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. You saw it in the front. Shoulder measurement is 8 inches. And then for the armhole, I'm going to use, I also made the same mistake. I went and put 8 inches. Okay, I had to remeasure the front to be sure. And I noticed I had 8.5 inches in front. So I had to come back and remeasure it. Alright, so always cross-check your work. So I've marked 8.5 inches, and on that 8.5 inches point, I'm going to mark I'm going to check my shoulder to be sure I am connecting it on same line with the shoulder. This way, you will get a perfectly straight line from shoulder to armhole. Okay, so I'm connecting it straight ahead like that. All right, so I'm marking my bust. Yes, 9.5 inches. I've just connected it there, 9.5 inches. And then I'm just making a label, BP, waist, and then the full length, of course. This is what I've done. And then I'm marking from my bust to 4.5 inches like I did for the front. And then this back, your shoulder slope should be 1 inch, while front is 0.5 inch. Then I'm marking my basic neckline 3x3. All right, 3x1 for the back is 3x1, for the front is 3x3. So this is 3x1. I'm just trying to use this beautiful small ruler to just give it a fine shape. So I'm done doing that. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing now is just to do my shoulder slant with this ruler. I'm slanting from that point to the other point, and then on that part, I just, for my across back, I just minus half an inch. All right, for the front, I had 7 inches. Here I just minus 0.5 inch from that 7 inches, and now I'm connecting it from this bust point to the across back and then to the upper part, which is the shoulder, just as you can see me. And then my nipple to nipple, I'm taking my nipple to nipple. Though this back is wider, I made it wider. I use 5 inches here. There is no bust at the back, so I can even do more than 5 inches. Please don't try it for the front. If not, your breast will not be, your nipple will not be sitting where you should. Your dress, in fact, will not be sitting where you should sit on your nipple. Okay, so I'm just coming here, 1 inch here and 1 inch here. Okay, on the full length, I just took 1 inch. That the back is very simple and straightforward. I came up by 0.5 inch. Your back that should go up by 0.5 inch after your bust point. It shouldn't be on the same line. And I use this ruler to connect it to the 1 inch below. This ruler made a blunder on this particular dart, but no worries. There's nothing spoiled. So I'll just keep connecting it like this up. See the blunder the ruler made. So I'm just taking my waist measurement, divide by 4. I've input it there. Then I'm replacing this dart. Always replace your dart. I think I have 1 inch there. I replaced it. Then on the upper hip, I took my upper hip measurement. 39 divided by 4 gives me 9.5. And I'm trying to replace 9.75, and I'm trying to replace that dart. I've replaced the dart, okay? All right, so now I'm just connecting it like this. Connect it from my armhole to this part. Okay, I'm connecting the upper hip measurement now using this ruler again. Okay, I'm just trying to take my time to do this upper hip. The curve on this upper hip should start immediately after your hip. Okay, especially when you want to achieve a conical effect. Okay, so on this armhole, I'm going up by 0.5 inch. See it? I went up by 0.5 inch and I'm connecting it with this ruler. And then I'm also coming down on this bust point. You can go lower if you want. You can go lower depending on how deep you want your back to be. But I like mine modest. Okay, so I'm just using this ruler to connect it from the armhole down. Please don't make this center front curved. All right. So, you see what I did there? On my waist, I came in by 0.25 for my waist snatching. I don't want to snatch this corset too much. You can snatch up to 1 inch if you want. All right, 0.75, 3 inches, as much as you want. But I don't want to snatch it, so I just remove 0.75. Okay, so if you're snatching, whatever thing you're snatching with, divide it into 4. That is what you will impute. Okay, so I'm doing same for front, 0.25. Let's assume you're snatching by 3 inches. You divide 3 inches into 4. So the answer is what you will impute on the back and the front. All right. So I put 0.25 here on the front as well. You know, we didn't do it for the front. I just remembered it when I was doing that of the back and I had to come back. So I removed 0.25 from my waist. I don't want it too snatched. So if you want it to snatch, make it as you want. All right, so I'm done snatching the waist and we're eliminating those ones there. We don't need it. So for the lacing bar, I'm just removing 0.5 inch. You can even remove up to 1 inch or 1.5 inches. I just remove. I think later in the video, I later even added 0.5 inch, 0.25. Okay, so I just removed 0.5 inch for now for the lacing bar where our lacing will be. So you see, I'm just trying to mark that knot showing that this is where your lacing bar will be. I want this tutorial to be as quick and as simple to assimilate as possible. Then for your panels, you can create more panels. I'm trying to create more panels at the back. You see, I've created another panels at the side back just by imputing my long ruler. There is no long story. Okay, I measured the back, the down part into 2. I divided it into 2. Same way with the front. You see how I just created new boning channels? All right, new panels, and I'm labeling it number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, so I went in with my ruler and I'm just cutting it. We are done with the drafting. I did more labeling, more annotation. That is why you can see all those other marks there. I marked it more so that I'll be able to understand it when I finish cutting. So when I was cutting, I realized that I did not do the styling. I now grabbed my ruler and started styling the down part. After doing this particular styling, I didn't really like the outcome because it wasn't really looking like what I wanted. This particular one I did, and I said, okay, let me do it the other way around. I placed my ruler and I did this one. When I remove the ruler, you will see it. So I took it up. I made sure the side front was curvier than the center front. All right? Don't worry, I'm trying to use my pen so that when I remove the ruler, you will see it very well. This is the second line I am making in this center front now. Hola, you see it. So this center front, I'm trying to make it straight. I don't want it to have to be pointy. So see, it is so fine. So I'm going with the second one that I made. So I'm just going with my scissors now to begin to cut everything. Notice how I'm cutting it. I cut the the snatched waist. I didn't cut the first waist. Okay, so you're cutting your snatched waist. So on this center back, I just wanted to increase the spacing for the lacing bar. So I just added 0.25 to the already, from that line, I just added 0.25, okay? You know I had half an inch before, so I just added 0.25 and I marked it to this ruler so that the space at the back will be a little bit more open than normal. Okay, so I'm just trying to cut it off on the new line I had, no longer the first line. So I'm going ahead, continuing my labeling. I just did these notches there, and then I'll continue my cutting. So this is me. This is the end of the cutting of the back panel. See how it's standing, sitting pretty. Let me bring the front panel so that you guys can see everything. Guys, if you want me to upload a video tutorial on how I made the sewing tutorial, please let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you want in the comment section so that I can upload the sewing tutorial. I will see you in the next one. Bye.